Thomas, Carey Price, Pekka Rinne, Henrik Lundqvist. But when you look at the numbers and the stats of Marc-Andre Fleury, he's right there. He's got similar numbers. Partner, where do you think Marc-Andre Fleury sits in the race for the Vezina Trophy?
I think he's got a really good shot at it. You have to look at the league leaders, especially Tim Thomas, who has lots of shutouts this year, great numbers. But if you look at Mark Fleury's numbers, especially after he's come back from having a slow start, he's been doing great. So I think he's a very reasonable and viable candidate for Vezina.
Absolutely. And just to give an example of some of those stats, that Fleury should be mentioned in that race with candidates of the Vezina Trophy like Tim Thomas, Carey Price, Henrik Lundqvist. Thomas's numbers, 32 wins, 2.0 goals against average, and a save percentage of .939. Obviously, that's the league-leading save percentage. Carey Price with 34 wins, a 2.40 goals against average, and a .922 save percentage. Lundqvist, 33 wins with those 11 shutouts, a 2.24 goals against average, and a .924 save percentage. Now, here are Fleury's numbers. He's got 34 wins, so tied with Carey Price, a 2.28 goals against average, so a little bit less than Carey Price there, and a .920 save percentage. So that's not to mention everything that he's had to deal with this year and all that adversity. Now, we see how those numbers match up. Why do you think Fleury is so downplayed, not to discredit anybody else on this list, some of the best goalies in the world and some amazing accomplishments all around, but why do you think Fleury isn't usually mentioned by some of the media when they're talking about the Vezina Trophy?
Well, I think he's been kind of overlooked, especially in a year where we've had so many standout goaltenders. He's kind of overshadowed, especially him being younger. For some of these guys, it might be one of their last years. Tim Thomas, Dwayne Rollison, even Carey Price, you don't know how many more years these guys will be playing, as opposed to Fleury, who's 26 and potentially has another 5-10 years left in his career.
Absolutely. And another thing, again, he's doing this all in the face of so much adversity this season, but no doubt that Tim Thomas, I think, is kind of at the forefront of this Vezina race. He's having such a great year, and certainly I think that this could be one of the best years of his career. All right, folks, we're going to take our final break. When we return, as always, game predictions, fan emails. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a great wrap-up for you right here on the Iceberg. All right, we're back, and our Iceberg Hall of Fame inductee for the week is the one, the only, Sidney Crosby. The man, the myth, the legend, the kid, number 87, Sidney Crosby is undoubtedly the most recognizable face in hockey today and the best player in the NHL. Sid the Kid led the Penguins to their third Stanley Cup in 2009 and won the Hart Memorial Trophy, the Art Ross, and the Lester B. Pearson Award all in one season. He also won the Rocket Richard Trophy in 2010. At just 23 years of age, he's already recorded 654 NHL points and is on track to being one of, if not, the greatest player of all time in the NHL. On to game prediction, Thursday, the Pittsburgh Penguins travel to sunny Tampa Bay and take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. In their last meeting, the Penguins demolished the Lightning 8-1, and of course, that was the game in which Sidney Crosby would suffer the second concussion. He's been out ever since that game. But this time around, partner, what do you expect to see in this game between the Lightning and the Penguins?
I expect a tight game, and I expect to see everybody get involved, especially against a potential playoff matchup in Tampa Bay. You're going to see a lot of our guys like Mark Letestu, Jordan Stahl, Tyler Kennedy trying to get in there. And you're going to see their guys like Steven Stamkos, Martin St. Louis, and Dwayne Rollison. So what you're going to see is a very fast-paced hockey game. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be fun to watch. And it's going to be serious in predicting the potential playoff victor.
Absolutely. And currently both of these teams, as you mentioned, are in the playoff picture, possibly a matchup in the first round. There's a lot of speculation surrounding these two teams meeting in the playoffs, so big implications in any case. Then on Saturday, the Penguins will take on the Panthers. When these two teams last met just a few days ago, the Penguins beat the Panthers in an NHL record fourth consecutive shootout win. Somewhat slow start last game, very little offense. Marc-Andre Fleury was a brick wall in net for the Penguins in that last game. What about this game, partner? What do you expect to see?
I expect to see more of the same as the last game, but I expect to see a more decisive finish, probably in regulation. I predict this time that we'll finish in regulation and we'll come out ahead.
Absolutely, and finishing those games in regulation is going to be so important, especially leading into the playoffs. And then after the Florida game, there are just 3 games left until the Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, folks, we're going to take some fan emails. First up, we've got Mike from Shaker Heights, Ohio, who writes to us, do you think we need to bring Talbot back next season, or do you think dumping Talbot and his salary, replacing his production with guys like Jeffrey, Letestu, and Tangradi would further benefit the Penguins? Well, I myself have gone back and forth on this one. Talbot, he's not a flashy scorer. He's not Sidney Crosby, but he's a guy that you can count on to always give it his 100%. He's a guy you can stick on that third line who's going to fight up against the boards, get his hands dirty for that puck possession. What do you think, partner?
Well, I've gotten into many a debate about Talbot and his value to the team. I think on any other team in the NHL, he probably would not be as valuable, nor would he be in the position that he's in. I don't think that he's a top liner, but I don't think that he's a bottom line guy either. I think he's a hardworking, middle of the road guy whose intangible ability makes up for his lack of production.
Absolutely. He's certainly one of the most well-liked Pittsburgh Penguins. And our next question comes to us from Steve from Youngstown, Ohio, who writes, hi guys, big fan of the show and of the Penguins. Thank you very much, Steve. What do you think of Kovalev since he's come to us from Ottawa? Is his lack of production due to his age and decreasing skill set, or is his timing off due to the shuffling of the line mates as well as having to learn a new system? Well, obviously he had that goal tonight. He's struggled to score a bit in regulation since coming to the Penguins. I'm not sure his skill set necessarily decreasing, because I think his greatest skills are in his hands, his unique abilities to deke and maintain puck possession, especially in 4-on-4 hockey and overtime situations. He is having a hard time scoring in regulation, tonight aside. What do you think about Covey, partner?
Well, I think some of it is the fact that you're not counting overtime goals or shootout goals in statistics. If you look at his shootout statistics, especially as of late, he's effectively decided 2 or 3 games for us. So I think it makes up for the fact that he's been unable to score in regulation. But I think he will be able to score during the playoffs in regulation.
Absolutely. Well, one thing's for sure, we have at least 6 more points in the standings because of Alexei Kovalev and those shootout goals against Toronto, Philadelphia, and Florida. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your evening with us here on the Iceberg. Craig, as always, thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you, Iceberg. You guys have a great week.
Thank you all, and have a great night.